All right, let's go over how to do our outline tonight. Now, here's what I need you guys to do. You have to imagine that you're working with which step?
Step 4.
Step 4, your brainstorm. You have to have that done. You can't even do this unless you have that step done. Now, in order to format your outline so it looks like this, what should you do?
Save it to desktop.
Save it to desktop. Now, this is a PDF. It may not work, so go to mrjeffrey.com and go to the Right Way Zone. You can download this document individually, because that definitely will work. All right, Brandon, why don't you pick someone to read the introduction, the directions for us, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
The directions.
Right here, the directions.
Alright. Malcolm X said, if you want to know where you're going, you need to know where you came from. Good advice, and it applies directly to writing an essay. This basic outline outlines just about any type of essay that you ask you to write.
Okay, so think of your outline as a MapQuest or a GPS. If I was going to ask you to meet me in Canastota, New York, how many of you know how to get there already? Do you really know where Canastota, New York is?
No, I never heard of it.
Okay. It's a small town where my family is from, in central New York, actually. It's about 3,000 miles from here. But if you had a GPS and you put in the address of my Aunt Domenica's house, or my Aunt Dee, could you get there easily? Yeah, it would take a few days, 5 at most to get there, driving about 600 miles a day. But you could get there. That's what an outline does for writing an essay. A lot of us will go to write an essay like the one I was talking about from one of my seniors, where the essay was all over the place. Well, guess what she was missing? Her outline. And that's why it just went everywhere. She didn't even have a real clear thesis. So think of your outline as a GPS system or using MapQuest. It tells you where you're going, and then you fill in the blanks along the way. All right, first, you will label your outline as intro, body, and then of course down here is the conclusion. Let's focus on the intro first. Now when you download this, you don't have to format any of this, but what you will do is you'll take this right here, you'll take this, and you'll delete it all the way back to the word begin. Make a note on there. So you just have that format. This is the direction, but I want you to actually delete it back where it says begin with a hook or lead. You want that part in there. In fact, go ahead, Caitlin, just hit the delete key, because we'll do that right up here. So you want to begin with a hook or a lead. So you'll delete, oh yeah, we can't do that because this is a PDF. All right, so now, where do you think you can find your hook or your lead? Where can you look? Which step? Take out step 3 right now, please. Take it out and hold it up so I can see it. Then, read what you wrote on step 3. After you read what you've written in step 3, think of an opening sentence that will capture the reader's attention. Maybe you're going to start with a quote from someone famous that relates to what you've reflected on there for step 3. Okay. In step 3, if you remember, you had to look at your topic, and so where we got our criteria from. We went through each of the topics, and we looked at the themes or the social issues. Okay. So, for instance, let's ask Taylor. What topic did you pick? You got 3 stars by it. That's what you did for step 1. Look at your topics.
Topic 2.
Topic 2. Okay, read us topic 2. Hey guys, please listen.
Write an essay that evaluates the transcendental philosophies of Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman, and the plot developments in Dead Poet Society to demonstrate clearly how it is necessary at times to rebel against society in order to achieve social justice.
Okay, so rebel against society to achieve what?
Social justice.
Social justice. All right. Now, what do we say the criteria were in that particular topic? And you have it written down. I asked every one of you guys to write it down for every single topic. What was it? Individualism, rebellion, civil disobedience, carpe diem. What else?
Nonconformity.
Nonconformity, accepting consequences. Okay, so what a lead or hook does is it captures the reader's attention with a sentence that just grabs the reader's focus right away. Now, I'm sure you guys have learned that in 10th or 9th grade, correct? Some teachers call it a hook. I like to call it a lead because we're leading you in. But that first sentence has to get our attention. Now, you could quote someone famous. You could quote another work of literature. What you don't want to do is mention Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman, or Dead Poet Society yet. Because what shape is your introduction? It's an upside-down triangle, so you're trying to reach as wide an audience as possible. Okay? So, let's just say here that you decide, you know what? I'm going to begin with quoting Montaigne, someone famous, regarding social justice. What's happening right now in the news almost every day when you turn on the TV or go on the internet? Yeah, the Occupy Wall Street or Occupy LA. There's lots of good quotes about civil disobedience. I've been teaching for 23 years. I've never been in an environment where you see so much civil protesting going on at all. So this is a really good time for you. If you just go online and typed in, quotes about civil disobedience or social justice, you'll find something. And that should be a good way, that might be a good way to open your essay. Now,
all have a quote?
No. Now, I'm just giving an example. I will actually teach you about 40 different ways to start your essay next week. I like to wait till after we get done with the learning how to do the introduction. Then we'll actually look at that particular method, okay? And it's in your right way packet.
For your better essay, you'll help us find a lead sentence.
Right. Because right now, do you need a lead sentence? If you're just, is this sufficient enough right now for an outline? Quote someone famous regarding social justice. Do you have to know what it is at this point? You do? Do you have to know what it is at this point? No, why not? What is this? This is an outline. You need to know it when you go to write your what? Your rough draft. Okay. So then, look at the next step. It says, evaluate the universal appeal of your hook while focusing on the topic or prompt. Okay? Right here, step 3. You probably already have this. Also make a note, you can look at your anticipation guide all the way back when we wrote about transcendentalism without being aware of what it was back in August. Because I asked you 10 statements, correct? But the reason I had you do step 3, let's make a note here. And so, and I write step 3 right there. Or anticipation guide. Part 2. And we did that when? Back in August, okay? Your essay is basically already written because you've done your brainstorm. You've already done this reflection right here. And I'm going to show you, once we go from our outline to go to write our rough draft, how we actually turn that in. Eyes up here, please. How we actually take those 100 words, reduce it by about maybe 50 to 60%, and now you have a good chunk of your intro already done. Okay? Max, what did you write about for your reflection for step 3?
The reflection, I put nonconformity.
Okay, and you wrote 100 words about nonconformity, right? Did you mention transcendentalism?
No.
No. Should you mention transcendentalism or Emerson, Thoreau, or Whitman for step 2 of your outline in your intro? Should you mention that? No, because what shape is this? Upside down triangle. We're starting wide and we're narrowing our focus. Now at this point right here, setting context is provide background information and or plot summary. Now, what's our topic for everybody? transcendentalism, where you liked it or whether you didn't like it, this is where you give us the explanation. So right here, make a note. Explain transcendentalism. Okay? You can explain transcendentalism. Should you introduce us to your authors? And something brief about them? Who are the three authors we're all writing about? Right, I'm just going to abbreviate by first initial. Then, the authors, which are Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman. Okay? We'll be writing about those three authors. Just 1 or 2 sentences each. If you're writing on Dead Poet Society, do you need to give us a plot summary?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. So then you'll give, put here, plus plot summary. And about half of us are writing on that topic as well, because that's what it says right there. All right. Lastly, what do you give us? Your thesis statement. Okay? This is the only thing I want you to write out completely. So let's make a note here. Write out completely. Okay? How many sentences long is that? Just 1 sentence. So if you're going to talk about, if your essay is on topic 2, and your criteria were the ones that we've mentioned, if your 3 criteria, let's say they were civil disobedience, individualism, and carpe diem. And that's the order that it appears in your thesis statement. What does paragraph A have to be about?
Civil disobedience.
It has to be about civil disobedience. Chris, what would paragraph B be about? If our criteria are civil disobedience, individualism, carpe diem, could it also be about civil disobedience though? Can you have 2 body paragraphs in the same criteria? Absolutely. Could you have 3?
Yeah.
If it were a longer essay, okay? So maybe you'll have 2 paragraphs on civil disobedience, 1 paragraph on individualism, 2 paragraphs on carpe diem. So how long would this entire essay be? How long would it be?
7.
That's a 7-paragraph essay. Okay? All right, we're going to finish right here. And you can check this out online too, because I'll upload that, okay? So go ahead and